This video is not so much a buying list as it is a food for thought. This is more, in this video, throughout this video, I want you to open your mind. I want you to listen to what I'm saying, but I also want you to open your mind and think outside the box. As my friend Chris Tanner of Prepared Mind 101 says, let's define the purpose. Why do you want a gun? Why do you think you need a gun to add into your survival plan and your survival strategy? I've come up with a few reasons. The biggest one being self-defense. Yes, possibly protecting yourself from two-legged predators, but also four-legged, depending on where you live. That could be grizzly bears, that could be wolves, that could be coyotes, feral pigs, rabid dogs, possibly self-protection from two-legged predators. The second reason why would be hunting. And I put an asterisk next to that because I don't mean traditional hunting. I'll touch more on that coming up. I put hunting slash varmint control or varmint protection. What do I mean by that? Say you have a garden and say you're going to use that garden as a source of food. Say you have a chicken coop, say you have animals, say you live on a farm or a homestead. Protecting your crops and your food supply from varmint. Okay, now that we've defined purpose and reason behind why you should own a gun, let's move on to cutting through the BS. Okay, so let's discuss reality versus fantasy. The reality, fact of the matter, talking about defensive situations, defending yourself, it's going to be up close and personal. Probably within 100 yards and probably within 50 yards and most likely within 25 yards. So it's kind of an inverted triangle, an inverted pie cutout. It's a triangle with you being on the outside, not on the inside. At close range, you're at most risk. As possible threats are moved farther and farther away, or as you move farther and farther away from a possible threat, the margin of danger to you and your family drastically diminishes. Fantasy is you're going to be making these precision headshots and body shots at 500 yards away, at 1,000 yards, or at the glorified 1 mile shot away. The fantasy is you're going to be at your homestead, you're going to have a big open field, you're going to see guys coming that instantly you know for a fact they're going to threaten you and they're going to kill you, so you want to kill them before they can even become a threat to you. The reality is you'll probably have to use your gun as self-protection because people are trying to break into your house, or they're coming to your house to see if it's empty, and after you don't answer the door, they might start kicking your door in. The fantasy is you're going to be battling these hordes of, I put it in quotes, zombies far off. So be it zombies, a biker gang, just a street gang, you've witnessed them going house to house, just slaughtering people. That's the fantasy. Most likely that scenario most likely will not present itself. The reality, you should be wearing plain clothes. You should blend in. You shouldn't look like a sheep. You shouldn't look like an easy target. But on the flip side, you shouldn't look like a hard target. And I put hard target in quotes because a lot of people do not understand what that term means. Fantasy is you're going to be fully kitted out. You're going to have full battle rattle. You're going to have your chest rig. You're going to have your rifle. You're going to have your plate carrier. You're going to be all decked out in multicam to blend in. There's an old proverb. I don't even know who said it. Whatever. It's kind of an Eastern proverb. The nail that sticks up gets pounded down. And there's all these people that look plain Jane, ordinary, and then there's you in your multicam with your plate carrier, your AR, and everything. And yes, you might be better prepared to defend yourself, but on the flip side, you're painting a big crosshair, no pun intended, but you're painting a huge crosshair on yourself, and the first person that they will target and the first person that they will intend to literally kill, because you're actively showing that you will present them a problem, the first person they'll target will be you. That is the total opposite of what survival is. Survival is increasing your odds of survival, increasing your odds of staying alive. By painting a target on your back is the opposite of survival. At least my opinion is it's more logical to blend in, to be different, and to be prepared, and possibly have all the hardware to get into a confrontation and get into a firefight. But until that happens, blend in as good as possible. Next one, the reality. The reality, and we're talking about us in a self-defense scenario, post-apocalyptic or whatever term you want to use. The reality, it will probably be one person. It will probably be two people, actually. Two buddies, two co-workers, maybe a husband and wife. At the most, it might be four people. I apologize for, again, pissing on your rainbow, but the reality, it's going to be a handful of people. Handful, I mean less than five. They're not going to be probably super well trained. They're just going to be going, say, house to house, looking for food, maybe looking for an empty house and making sure there's nobody else in the vicinity, and maybe taking that house over as a form of shelter, stuff like that. The fantasy is it's going to be 10 to 50 to 100 guys, fully kitted out, ready to go to battle, looking over this perfect field and your crops and everything. And over yonder, coming over this hill, there's this big brigade of just ragtag motorcycles and four-wheelers and pickup trucks and 4x4s, and they're going to have machine guns and 50 cals and AKs and everything. They're going to be screaming and just coming directly at you, just making an all-out attack at you. And then you're just going to have to get into defensive position, start taking those 1 mile long shots or those 600-yard shots and picking them off one by one. And then they'll think, because you're so awesome, that there's more than one of you guys, and then they're going to spread out and hide. And then you're going to, like, play sniper or whatever, and like when targets present themselves, you're going to take your shots, and you've already mentally, masturbated about this, and like you've already thought this whole idealic scenario out. Reality, that's not going to happen. Okay, reality is you're going to be attacked when you least expect it. The fantasy, you're going to be attacked when you most expect it. You're going to see the threat far away. You're going to get into hiding. You're going to have all your mags ready. You're going to take that threat out, before they can even see you, smell you, hear you, or touch you. Okay? That's not reality. That's fantasy. So let's talk about hunting real quick, because I touched on hunting in the beginning of the video. But I said I don't mean traditional hunting. What did I mean by that? Well, let's separate some reality versus let's separate some reality from fantasy. The reality type of hunting you're going to be doing, and why I don't really call it hunting, is you're going to see animals when you least expect it. The fantasy, you're going to go out hunting. Okay? That's fantasy. Especially if you have a family to take care of. And yeah, you might have to go out to hunt because you didn't intelligently store food, and that's why your family's starving. But the fantasy is you're going to go out hunting and you're going to come back with deer and some grouse and a turkey, and you guys are just going to eat straight meat for like months on end. And you're going to, go out for a whole day or 2 days just hunting. Okay? like I said, the reality is you're going to be doing something else. You're going to be, say, gardening. If you're into gardening, you're going to be um, finding water. You're going to be chopping wood, something like that. And you're going to see a rabbit, or you're going to see a cat or something like that. And you're going to have like probably a 2 minute window to make your shot and have a source of meat. You know, the fantasy is you're going to go out hunting for deer, for elk, for bear, for turkey, for grouse, you know, all these trophy animals. And your kind of traditional what people hunt in general, the popular animals. Well, I'm here to tell you, if that's your fantasy, that's a lot of your neighbors' fantasy too. The woods are going to be overrun with people just going out hunting deer and bear and elk and all these prized animals. And in the process, they're probably going to confront each other and probably shoot each other because they're both want to cut down on their competition. The reality of what you're going to be quote unquote hunting: rats, dogs, cats, raccoons, rabbits. Now, sorry if I offend some of you PETA loving folks out there. Cats and dogs in today's world are, yes, domesticated animals. But they're domesticated what? Animals. Okay? They're no different. A dog is no different than a coyote. You know? It's just domesticated. So, is it something glamorous to think about? That you're going to see some stray dog and you're going to have to shoot it, kill it, skin it, and eat it? Well, it's not that glamorous, but not really anything about survival and preparedness is all that glamorous. So, you know, sorry if I offend some of you guys, but I mean, after something happens, there's going to be people leaving their house. There's going to be people not caring about their animals. They don't want to bring their animals with. They want to cram their car full of useful stuff. They're going to leave their dogs and cats behind. Eventually, their dogs and cats, you know, before they leave, the people will probably open the door and just let the animals out so they don't have to deal with them, so they can fend for themselves. So, more likely than not, while the woods will be full of these hunters that have never hunted a day in their lives, you're going to be staying in your city or your suburb, and there's going to be cats and dogs and who knows, maybe other less popular household animals all over. And you'll probably be hunting those. Sorry, this is just the cold truth. It's not some fantasy. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. I want you guys to open your mind, and I want you to open your mind and think like you haven't thought before. Think about stuff you haven't thought of before. Realistic people, they would not rely on hunting. Hunting is not sustaining. It is for a little while, but if everyone's doing it, eventually our country is going to have zero animals. It's going to be hunted out. The fantasy is you're going to be relying on hunting, because one of the fantasies is you're going to, whenever anything happens, you're going to get all your guns, you're going to get your bug out bag and your get home bag and your I'm never coming home bag, and you and your family are just going to go out into the woods and live like Jeremiah Johnson or the wilderness family or whatever, and you're going to be constantly hunting and you're going to live off everything you hunt. It's not that realistic, and it probably won't go down the way you expect it will go down. The reality, the animals that you'll end up shooting to eat or quote unquote hunting, they'll be around your house, your farm, and your homestead. The fantasy is you're going to be in the middle of nowhere, and it's just going to be full of animals and wildlife, and you're going to have the full pick of the litter of what you want to hunt for that day.